as we load on up into New Gettysburg right now. MarineLorD and Serral, best of 5 TvZ. Pretty good one as we head up into this. Oh, head up into this. That doesn't make any sense at all. As we set up into this, let's see how these guys are going to do. I mean, we can talk a little bit about players as we get in, but for now, let's just introduce them. To the bottom left-hand side from my insanity, our green Zerg player is going to be Serral. And down to the bottom right-hand side from Millennium, our blue Terran player. Let's see it, guys, if you're cheering on MarineLorD. As we set up into this TvZ best of 5, we'll be seeing the DreamHack Valencia runner-up taking on the Finnish Zerg who started this year strong and just sort of withered away a little bit due to school or whatever, I'm not sure, but has not really been around recently. Now, actually, it's kind of funny because both of these players had very strong performances in Nation Wars. If you guys remember, Serral coming very close to killing off Korea, and MarineLorD coming, being successful in killing off Korea as well. So it's actually pretty cool to see these guys playing each other. And again, kind of the more recent sort of successor, MarineLorD, has been very successful lately against Serral, who's kind of just been quiet and hasn't done too much. Will be interesting to see what his level is at. He took down Shadowdown in the first round, and MarineLorD got rid of DMC. Two players who are... Well, Shadowdown's been on the up lately as well. Has been definitely looking as though he might be a contender for WCS Challenger. Well, he was in WCS Challenger League, for example. DMC was WCS Challenger League back in 2015. Has taken a break from StarCraft and then came back. And now he's obviously getting free up by MarineLorD isn't too much of an upset, but still looking to be kind of getting towards that higher level once again. As we are just going to be seeing the SCV coming across the map from MarineLorD, just having a little bit of a look to see what is going on. So, SCV from MarineLorD, just seeing what's up, seeing what is happening. And I'm just going to be seeing the drones just mining away from this mineral line still. I mean, very standard openings. We see CC first, which is a little bit non-standard, I suppose. You don't always see Command Center first in the TvZ, of course. But I mean, it's one of these larger maps. It's one of these maps where we're going to see these free CC openings. We're going to see Command Center first. And they might turn into the metagame where actually Zerg players start to play very aggressively on this map all the time because Terrans do these more kind of economic, greedy openings. That is going to be a possibility, but for the most part, we'll probably see for a little while these greedier, different openings from the Terrans here. On New Gettysburg, as we see this first Marine just pushing an Overlord away, trying to deny some information. In fact, Serral doesn't see anything apart from the fact that it's a Marine-based opening, so it can make some assumptions, but nothing you can know for sure as Fallings starting to come across the map, deciding to turn back though, not going to commit over here. And he's going to go into Nibitas Carapace as well. It's just making sure he can scout early on, wants to know exactly what he's going to end up playing against throughout the early minutes of the game. MarineLorD is up on double gas, which means he has got the potential now to go in towards a kind of starport and further tech in the game. So maybe Hellion Banshee as an opening. We are going to see that factory lifted and going onto this reactor, so Hellion's at least going to be on the way out. In the chat then we got Ayoshi cheering on MarineLorD, even though he plays Corona Boy in here. Hello Corona Boy, how you doing today? Cheering on Serral. A little bit of split support then. Keep us updated with what you guys are cheering for, guys, or who you guys are cheering for. Want to hear if you guys are cheering on the Terran or the Zerg in this best of 5 qualifying match. Winner goes to DreamHack Montreal in August 12th to 14th to play in the WCS Summer Championship. 2 Hellions out, 2 more on the way. There's that Rax. Lifts off the tech lab, goes back down, decides he is actually going to build up stim, and probably just going to be a medevac then out of this starport, or Viking too. Viking is a good way to actually chase down some of these overlords. Medevac could have been used if he to kind of lift some of these Hellions into the main base and kind of run by a little bit, get some damage done. And just going to be seeing those Hellions just running back over to the right hand side. 4 Hellions in total here then, as we'll see the Viking. And again, just on the way up, as we see the Marines. Not quite going to be able to finish that Overlord off just yet, but that's why that Viking is going to become very useful. Going to go towards the left a little bit here initially. As again, the Hellions just moving around the map. Going to take this watchtower to the top side, and again, just seeing what's up, seeing what's happening. Roachron about to finish from Serral. He's gone into a +1 Carapace upgrade here initially. Very suggestive that he might not go for kind of a committed Roach-based play, but more like a kind of a Ravager Ling sort of attacking to faster Ultralisks. I mean, it's a good map to do that sort of stuff on because it's a good map to split map on. It's an easy map to defend on for the most part as well. So you can generally get away with these greedier builds in the matchup. I was just going to be seeing a Viking coming over to the left-hand side. 4 Hellions just nearby as well. I'm just going to take down that creep tumor there, and a single Zergling as well, also going down very swiftly as we see the Viking continue to just move over to the right-hand side. So Viking coming over to the right as we see another creep tumor getting taken down. They're on the way up now from Serral. So all said and done, I mean, MarineLorD kind of just playing a very passive opening, going into 3rd CC. Doesn't really do much at all. I mean, a few Hellions to kind of roast away some creep tumors and so on, just get some information, get some presence on the map. A Viking to clean up some overlords, but other than that, just going straight up to 3 CC, double engineering bay on the way. The stim obviously comes in pretty quickly as well. So that stim on the way up, just getting him set up for the later stages of the game here. A couple of overlords actually going to spread out to the south side as well from Serral. You're going to see this Viking coming back over to the right. This command center going to be dropping down an orbital as well. And there's actually tanks sieged up now. They'll probably be lifted by the medevacs, and they'll go out on the map and be the creep cleaning committee or so, as they're going to be looking to get rid of a lot of this creep spread towards the front, deal with a lot of these queens, for example. We're going to see those Zerglings running on in, and we're just going to be seeing the Hellions continue to pull away from them. It's going to be continuing to deal some damage. So Hellions continue to work their way through these Zerglings. Zerglings taking quite a lot of damage here, actually. We're going to see the tanks cleaning up the Lings as well. We're just going to be seeing those queens continue to take damage too. You can see it's kind of coming down. We're just going to be seeing again a lot of the creep tumors being cleaned up. So lots of creep being cleaned out, and again just going to be seeing a couple more tanks maybe moving just a little bit further forwards once again. As we have the Overlord still sat just over to the right hand side. We're going to see a Viking coming in from MarineLorD 2. Still just moving around as this Hellion tank combo has done so much. Finally 2 more Hellions going down here. Medevacs will have to be somewhat careful of those queens with that 8 range. They don't want to get caught and taken down, because that would be some expensive losses. Now we do see Serral going into a couple of infestors. His melee upgrades have started up as he added on the 2nd Evo chamber. Still don't see a hive just yet though, so that's the one thing he's maybe still missing, as we're going to see tanks going very far forwards. They'll start to work their way through a couple of queens again, and well, there's transfuses available, and that's going to be the important thing to take note of here, as we'll see once again. MarineLorD lifting, and with the medevac boost, and very quickly just back away without taking any real damage. And back at home, he is building up into tanks. He's building into his 3rd base as well, and extra gas coming up over here. His 2-2 upgrades will be about to start as well. He's a little bit shy, a little bit low on gas actually for this. As we're just going to be seeing the just continue to pour out here. I mean, he's actually up on 4 tanks already, which is really nice. As we'll see him once again just unloading with these couple of siege tanks, and just picking away at another Zergling, another couple of roaches once again. So those tanks are just going to be pulling back again over to the right hand side here. We're going to be seeing the hive. We'll be finishing up very, very soon. And we'll see just a few Ravagers starting to morph into this game. So a few Ravagers are going to start morphing in. The +1 melee, the +2 carapace again will be finishing up shortly. As we'll see the Marines will take down an Overlord here in the center of the map. Again, hive about to finish. So as the hive finishes, we'll see we'll see Serral just sort of setting up in a position where he's going to be going into the Ultras Cavern. He's getting in towards the latest stage of the game. We'll see how MarineLorD begins to deal with this, because right now he's not building Liberators. He's setting up a turret around the place as well. Now, just in case of any sign of kind of burrowed roach play, we've been seeing that a little bit from Elias the last couple of days. So, loading up the tanks. Look, I mean, it is kind of time for him to go, right? I mean, there's nothing for him to really kind of nothing really for him to wait around for any longer here. So he does begin to move out onto the map. And I mean, the longer he waits, the better a situation it becomes now from Elias. It's definitely worth him going onto the map. He's immediately going to find potentially some queens. Doesn't drop his tanks in time. A little bit of a run by to the right-hand side. The great wall of depots here, though. Will be a pretty good denial for that. And tanks sieging up. There's a bunker up here as well in the 3rd base. And extra reinforcements coming in too. And will be cleaned up very easily, as you see. Just a little bit of creep spread being dealt with. I mean, the Ultra Cavern has finished. Still a while before Kindness Plating, of course, comes into the game. As we'll see this force from MarineLorD still pushing towards the upper side of the map. He's going to add on a 4th command center now as well, as he continues to come up all the way to the top side here. I'm going to see these Ravagers. There's so many of them. MarineLorD going to have to be very careful of the fungal growths. Immediately going to see him actually starting to just pull back away from this. Does not want to take a straight up fight. And will just drop his tanks onto the high ground. Is that simply which we'll see Serral kind of fighting? Well, no. Serral just backs away immediately. Oh, wow. Fungal growth is going to catch 4 of the tanks there in total, as one of the medevacs with a tank inside goes down as well. See the bios still just moving around from MarineLorD, stimming forwards. We'll see an Overlord getting taken down. And again, just quite a bit of Roach Ravager and Infestor to the left-hand side here. A few Queens joining up together as well as we speak. We're going to see a command center coming on down to this bottom right-hand side. MarineLorD is still just collecting together, a few more tanks getting ready to go. As we're going to see 2 more star pods being added on. There's the Nidus network getting ready to start harassing around the map with these Ultralisks, and just becoming very annoying here as the game continues. This Viking going to be working his way through an Overlord, and the 4th base becomes accessible now from MarineLorD 2. Might take his 4th base down here though, actually. We'll see a little bit of a drop in towards the main base. It's going to be a little bit annoying. No stack defense set up currently. We'll see a couple of Zerglings going down, and actually a lot of stack defense being denied here. Nice drop from MarineLorD, pulling this army down to the south side as well. Still a lot of it left up to the north too, but still a good chunk of it. I mean, that's a lot more supply committed here by Serral than the supply committed by MarineLorD. These island bases still yet to be used. I actually haven't casted a game yet with these island bases being used. As you see, the Marines Rose just unloading. There's that Nidus starting to come in. MarineLorD, does he recognize this? He is beginning to pull units back in towards the main base. Has to stim them to make sure they get there in time. Vikings still picking off Overlords, which is good as well. As we'll see, the Liberators will set up siege positions as well. And as this Nidus finishes, we'll see some Roaches starting to come out. And, well, I mean, Serral realizes that this has been really kind of spotted by MarineLorD, and so he does just give up the chase. He's just going to back away from that instead. Yeah, a couple of, a few ghosts going to join up together now as we see the 4th base is set up. We'll see a couple of medevacs loading up. They're going to go up to the north side of the map now. So they're going to go up to the north, and of course just try and keep an eye as to what exactly is going to be going on. I'm going to be seeing those few Roaches continue to come out in towards the center of the map now. Also, I'm using the word also and as well a lot today. I apologize, guys. Let me try and stop doing that. We do see the Spire being added on towards the 3rd base. We're going to see this couple of medevacs to the north side now are going to begin getting themselves into a position where they can get some potential damage done. Even just clean up some of the groups by taking some of the map control away from our Zerg player. This is the game which is going to go long. This is going to be a lot of Liberator Ghost production here in the near future. We're not going to be seeing this game ending anytime soon, I don't think. We're going to see both players heading in towards their super sort of late game setups. This is really going to become a very split map situation, as we do see those medevacs will continue to move around. They want to continue trying to head in towards these bases and just annoy Serral while he sets up MarineLorD into Ghost Liberator in higher numbers. So playing TvZ as it's meant to be played, honestly, in the later games, later stages of the game, which is to play very passively, which is to sit back on tanks and Liberators, Ghosts as well, and just to kind of build up into that very strong defensive army, rather than being overly aggressive into a very strong Zerg army until kind of the Ghost and Liberator count gets that little bit higher. You're going to see the Greater Spire on the way up now from Serral. As we'll see a few Roaches to the right hand side. Well, they get traded away. Serral doesn't really want these Roaches any longer, so he's just cleaning up some supply, giving himself the opportunity now to build into some more useful units, a couple more Ultras in production. Some Ling Bane as well, and you might think, well, Ling Bane, how's that useful? But Ling Bane is actually very good at dealing with these Ghosts. Obviously, the Snipes are very good at dealing with kind of Ultras and so on. And it's a good mix to have in. If you have some Balins in the army, it's a very good way to kind of get in towards those Ghosts nice and quickly, shut them down speedily, and kind of go from there. Thank you very much, Silas, for the $10 donation as well. By the way, I'll read out your message and give you a proper shout out after the game. Thank you very much. I have seen it, just can't go into too much detail right now. And so we're right in the midst of this pretty long TvZ currently. Going to be seeing this Nidus network coming up towards the upper right hand side. Those medevacs still around as well. They want to try and get damage done, even again if it's just cleaning that creep. They're still just looking for ways to distract the Zerg player, as the Viking here actually will find the Nidus. So you'll see the potential attack coming in over here. Ultra will take down a couple of Marines to the top side, and we do see the Marines and Marauders just joining up together towards the 5th base now. And again, this is really just one of those longer games that we're going to be seeing. This is kind of the new Dusk Towers of the map pool, so it's, you know, you're expecting to see the longer games. And it's exactly what we're seeing so far. These nice networks will try and continue to pick away at the kind of bases of MarineLorD. MarineLorD's pretty much on top of it. Let's see this once again. He immediately spots that dot coming up in his main base. He's already moving into position with units here. And so these Ultras popping out, they're actually not going to be that effective because multiple snipes will come down, and these Ultras are just going to go down very swiftly. And one Ultra here might survive just because it's next to the Nidus. Doesn't quite turn it around in time though. Actually, that's 18 supply going down for very little gained. And that wasn't a very good trade at all there from Serral. Another Overlord being picked off. This Viking's been going huge. All game long, this Viking's been flying around. Every single time I see it, I swear, it's been trying to trade these trade with these Overlords. has been killing an Overlord. It's actually got 6 kills right now. I think once or twice a couple of Marines have actually stolen its kill towards the end as well, which has been a little bit unfortunate for the Vikings' EP levels. As we see Serral, well, he's pretty much setting up to every single base on his side of the map. This gold base to the north side will become very interesting. We see actually so far, MarineLorD's been trading a lot better. So this gold base right now is very important for Serral, because with the less effective trades, he'll need an extra base over his opponent. So that's something which Serral will want to try and take here, perhaps. The island bases too will become a big part of this game, where players will probably set up in a situation where they need to try to kind of take those bases to keep on mining. If one player can establish one of those bases and the other cannot, well, that will become problematic very quickly for the player who cannot get that base up. As we see another Nidus to the right hand side here, again very difficult to keep up with all of those Nidus coming in. Nice little burrow play here to kind of keep that Ravager in the front alive, very cute. As we'll be able to see once again MarineLorD pulling back towards the main base to deal with this Nidus network. We'll see a couple more ultras coming out again. That's actually going to be advanced ballistics going down, so the Liberator range will be actually denied here very swiftly. Liberator siege up and back into the Nidus go those ultralists. This was a little bit of a better trade. I mean, still only picks off a tech lab, but it pulls a lot of the army back from MarineLorD. It means that MarineLorD isn't really able to aggressively advance this position for a while in towards the center of the map and towards that gold base, which again will be very important. As time goes by, huge fungal on the ghosts. Doesn't, whoa, that was a big funny. I was going to say it doesn't kill off many, but actually in the end, that last Curse of Battle does get a good bit of damage. Trades like that will very quickly change the resource loss tab more in towards Serral's favor, still behind. But MarineLorD can't let things like that happen too often here. He has to be cautious. We see again Nidus in towards actually the top side of the map here to run by in towards this base over to this side. So we'll be trying to get in here. I mean, there's SCVs to repair. The Ultra's hitting an orbital initially. I mean, honestly, MarineLorD could probably do with losing a few SCVs and getting a larger army, because he has them mules at this point. Can't keep up with this. As again, ooh, the ghosts here, they cloak up. Very smart. As we're going to see the snipes coming down, he will pull off these ultras. That was actually pretty scary for a moment or two, because we actually saw the ultras going back into the Nidus, but then the ultras then coming back, getting on top of the ghosts. Good cloak. Saves the day momentarily. Finally, another ultra going down, and this Nidus will be dealt with. As we will see, still just this army from Serral, still very kind of Ravager heavy, still very Balin heavy. 15 Corruptors now on the way up, so he's getting into that switch, which is to go in towards an anti-Liberator force, something that can fight against the later stage army that is coming out here from MarineLorD. As MarineLorD will continue to just put up bases in the new locations. We'll see again some Ravagers coming forwards, getting some good battles off on both tanks and Liberators. Still no advanced ballistics, right? So he didn't actually rebuild that after losing it earlier. 7 Liberators being made at a time, so a lot of Liberators on the way up here. Not so many ghosts, only 6. Well, okay, there's actually 16 ghosts on the map. Where are they all hiding? Actually, there's more of them here than you realize. They're very small units for how expensive they are, you know? They look like the size of a Marine, so you don't kind of realize how many there is, especially if they're all, some of them full energy and it's not displayed here with the damaged health bars. Then you kind of don't realize quite how many there is. So we see, just moving forwards, we'll see MarineLorD just looking to try and come in and again just push this location towards the center. He holds the center watchtower now. He could hold it if he wanted to, and he's got the vision. So split map here on New Gettysburg, and here's MarineLorD. He's advancing and setting up his position in the center. Creep chambers will be cleaned out, allowing turrets to be made, and again just setting a stronghold up here. I'm surprised we don't see a command center landing in this sort of location to actually planetary fortress up this sort of area. Now I've seen actually Serral taking down these rocks to give a bit more open space in the center here. As Corruptor's going to go in, actually Serral going to try and break this. Ghost immediately cloaking up as the Balins will roll on through. We're going to see Ghost immediately trying to back away from this. The Liberators, well, they deal with a lot of the stuff on the ground despite the Corruptors being here and deal with them pretty swiftly. The Corruptors still need to the Corruptors still take a while to get through the Liberators, so MarineLorD trades off pretty okay there actually. I mean, it wasn't so bad, pretty even trade, but Serral's the player with so much money in the bank, so MarineLorD going to have to take a bit more of a passive location now while he rebuilds into 7 Liberators at a time. 4 Ghosts coming up as well. We'll see, wow, 9 Broodlords coming in as a kind of rebuild here. Not sure how I feel about the Broodlords. I mean, there's going to be a lot of Liberators rebuilding. Again, 7 at a time is nothing to be laughed at. There's going to be a lot of snipes available too. I'm not sure if Broodlords are really what we need from Serral right now in this game. As we'll just see more Balins on the way up too. I'd like to see MarineLorD maybe just rebuilding a little bit of bio, kind of a little bit of Marine Marauder, just to help him kind of go up against those sort of Balins, you know? Just to help soak some of that damage and protect the ghosts a little bit on the ground. MarineLorD down in army supply currently, hasn't been able to remax as quickly as Serral has been. As Serral moving forwards here is going to be looking to see what he can get up to. These Liberators, we'll see now the Broodlords. Now to decide what sort of trade he wants to take. We'll see the Ghost cloaking and sniping straight away. Brood's actually taking a lot of damage immediately here, but the Ghost's going to run out of energy because they're very new. They've only just been built, and it's obviously very problematic, as we'll see the Ghost is going to try and be used as just kind of single target DPS now without the snipes. He's going to try and continue fighting. The Liberators do unsiege because the Ultras have actually gone down. Actually, this is going to be a hold from MarineLorD. Wow. I mean, the Ghosts here, they do a lot of damage on siege, you know, when they're not sniping as well. And the reality was there that, well, Serral just didn't have enough ground support, and so the Broodlord's taking a lot of damage initially. The Ghosts can continue to do damage after that, and the Liberators on siege, and that will help to push those Corruptor numbers away very quickly. So, just going to be seeing Serral, just going to be kind of 20 supply up right now still, and still with money in the bank, but MarineLorD is maintaining a lot of these units, and you can see there that last fight has really opened up the resources lost tab to a 6k differential, and it is MarineLorD who's going to be in favor of that. So again, it becomes these island bases and the gold base become much more important for Serral now to really start mining from, otherwise he will mine out a lot faster than his opponents. And we'll see a couple of Liberators just sieging up once again here. I'm going to be seeing a little bit of a stim forwards, the creep being cleaned out, a few spine crawlers trying to set up in this location to the top side. You'll see that hatchery getting taken down, so hatchery does fall. And we'll again be seeing now a Nidus network once again in towards the main base. The Overlord / Overseer goes down, trying to put it in because of the turrets. MarineLorD very quick to respond once more, pulling a good amount of Liberators back, pulling his bio back as well. Always on top of this, you know, always watching, always paying attention, never letting anything kind of come out and surprise him here, you know. You'll see two Ultras do come out, and they do actually get past the Liberators as well, which is, of course, slightly problematic, as we'll see the bio will have a little bit of a tough time fighting against this, and Liberators can't quite siege up in the correct places just yet. The bio is well positioned, though, in good choke points, and will eventually get rid of these Ultras. So Ultras do fall, and we'll see the Nidus network once again cleaned up. Again, Serral unable to really be too effective with this, as we're going to be seeing MarineLorD still holding this sort of central location, kind of a little bit further back than he has at certain points of this game. Nice to the top side of the map now, as we'll see. I'm still surprised MarineLorD hasn't even tried to take this base over here. I mean, I understand Nidus networks, etc. can be frustrating to deal with in that location, but he's got so many orbitals, just land one there, and before Serral even sees it, you might have kind of mined a good few faster minerals from it. At the end of the day is, you're only losing mules, which, you know, you've got a lot of anyway, and so if you can just get those minerals mined, it's still something. Obviously, some gas would be nice too. I mean, I just think it'd be worth it, because it's not as though Serral has those islands on watch right now, you know? As we're going to be seeing these few units just, again, from MarineLorD setting up another Nidus. A couple of Ultras getting out once again. MarineLorD continue to have to respond to this, but the thing is, it's a very kind of, you know, he's able to deal with these very easily every single time. Never have we seen these Ultras really doing too much damage. Another couple of snipes, and the Ultras actually run into a little bit of a wall off there, so they don't do anything. And we see MarineLorD, just with the sheer number of units at the front, even if he's pulling some units back to deal with those Ultras, etc., Serral can't really take advantage. Do we see advanced ballistics now? Has that finally come up? It has. So he's got that Liberator range. As we'll see, MarineLorD obviously just wants to push up in towards that gold base, denying that extra mining from Serral. It's a very important factor of this game for him, as we'll see the bio starting to move forwards. Zoom out a little bit, let's have a look to see what is going on here. Don't see any infestors actually, and that's something which maybe Serral has forgotten to rebuild to some extent, as we'll see these Liberators are just going to destroy everything Serral has. They just run on through. I mean, now that everything goes down on the ground, we'll just see snipes coming in on the Broodlords, and the Liberators are all in siege to fight the Corruptors as well. Snipes en masse here, as we will see Serral losing absolutely everything, and he's just going to GG out, isn't even going to bother waiting for his Remax to come in, because otherwise you're going to run in with your whole ground army. It's going to get destroyed by the Liberators, and then the Corruptors aren't even going to finish killing the Liberators, so the Liberators can unsiege and fight against the Corruptors too. So I didn't really agree with the way Serral was engaging towards the end of the game. I think the first fight for him was very good, but after that, things started to take a turn for the worse. Guys, let's introduce our players. The bottom right-hand side, the green Zerg from My Insanity will be Serral. He's not one game up, sorry, he's one game down in this series. Just getting myself mixed up on the scoreboard there, apologies. As for the upper left-hand side, we'll see the blue Terran player from Millennium. It is going to be the DreamHack Valencia runner-up, MarineLorD. Showed us a lot of very solid TvZ over at Valencia, over in Valencia, with strong performances against Snoot, for example. Unfortunately, got kind of it didn't really get crushed by Nurture in the finals. I mean, it was a 4-0. There's a 4-0 where the games were a lot closer than the series scoreline would suggest, so not so bad as we set up into game number 2. of this best of 5. We're going to be seeing a... see what the build is going to be here for MarineLorD to begin with, I guess, because last game obviously he played a very sort of passive, kind of greedy sort of play style. This game could be very different right from the start, so let's see how this goes. I mean, he might just open with kind of a second Rax and be very aggressive like that. I know he likes to do that on this map. He likes to do 2-base variant with kind of a Hellbat push. Not a Hellbat push, but like a Hellbat follow-up, so he makes more Hellions and uses the Hellbats in his army composition, following up the 2 Rax stim drops. So, possibilities here, and we'll see what exactly he wants to add on. Looks as though he's pulling an SCV to build a factory, though, so going to be popping that factory down. And we're just going to be seeing MarineLorD going into potentially kind of then a tank drop or motor mine drop into tank drop sort of play. Also very effective on this map because of these rocks to the right hand side of the natural. You see ship tanks here, they actually reach these minerals, which can be very frustrating to deal with. So see how this goes. We're going to see this Reaper continuing to come across down to the south side of the map right now. And yeah, just see the Reaper coming down to the south side. The factory again on the way up. We're going to see Command Center is also building right now from MarineLorD. Reaper expand basically is nothing to shout and scream about. It's very standard, what we'd sort of expect for the majority of this, as we see. Drone just being pulled away, Lings just having a little bit of a think to see if they can get in here towards that Reaper. And we see the Queen is coming forwards as well, and again just trying to trade as we're going to be seeing the Reaper continue to just take a little bit more damage. And again, Zergling's just working their way through the rocks over to the right hand side here, so a couple of Hellions actually on the way out from MarineLorD, so not going to be a tank base opening at all, and so probably going to be Hellion Banshee, as we see the tech lab on the barracks. Could be a single Banshee cloakless, could be cloaked Banshee. He is on double gas, and he is moving that barracks away from the tech lab, so he's definitely going to go Banshee. The question is, what sort of Banshee is it going to be? How many Hellions is it going to be? Is there going to be an armory for Hellbats to really kind of make this push something very significant in the game? How is this going to turn out for MarineLorD? From Serral, I mean, we haven't talked too much about his build, but he's got Ling Speed already? Yeah, so he's got Ling Speed, going back into Gas Mine now as he takes his third base. No need to test Carapace to scout. Sees a couple of Hellions here, and to be fair, I mean, seeing these couple of Hellions is nice. I mean, he's always got to, when he sees Hellions, he's got to assume the potential of Hellion Banshee. He's got to assume the potential of Hellbat attacks. So Serral should begin to kind of, in his mind, sort of prepare against those things, and obviously as the game goes on, he'll get more information to realistically kind of set up against those. We see, and again, a grenade coming down. That single Hellion at the back there is still being kept alive, and these 2 Queens might be in a little bit of trouble, but as the Zerglings coming in, they wrap around as well. MarineLorD makes a mistake, and he realizes his better option here is actually just to dive for the main, and he does lose those Hellions. Gets 1 Queen in the end, definitely not what he wanted though. I think he wanted to back away, but just paying a little bit, not enough attention as the Lings came in, and he does lose quite a lot of those Hellions. Hurts because obviously he does want to go into further Hellions here. As we see just a single Banshee coming out onto the map. And maybe we see MarineLorD actually playing Sky Terran here on King Sejong Station. It's a build which we do see from him sometimes. He was actually one of the first players I saw him... he was one of the first players I saw using Sky Terran. He actually used it against Serral, I believe, back in a... It was on Dusk Towers, but I can't remember what the series was for, whether it was for Team League. I don't think it was for Team League. I think it was maybe just... I have actually no idea. I've got absolutely no clue. I really don't, so... It's good to see this Marine just starting to work his way through this Overlord. And Ling is just backing away over to the right-hand side as well. So Ling is just coming over to the right-hand side. You're going to see that lair about to finish from Serral too. Fairly quick lair. He's going into an Evo chamber now. Second Evo, +1 Roach attack. So he's going to be playing a bit of a different style to what we see him playing in the last game, where he's actually going to commit to Roach Ravager Infester for a while, rather than rushing to Ultras. And that's just kind of being told to us because of the fact he's going for that +1 missiles, rather than a +1 Carapace and then transition into +1 melee. Ling's still poking at the front here. We are going to see MarineLorD start up stim, so he's just going to go into a few more... he's got a few more Hellions out just to help him defend, and he's also going to be able to go into kind of a more standard sort of playstyle here. In the end of the day, we're going to see these Crypt Tumors continue to come out over to the left-hand side, and Serral obviously just establishing himself on the map. If MarineLorD hadn't lost his earlier Hellions, then I imagine this creep wouldn't be anywhere near as far forwards as it is right now, but of course, ifs and buts, he did in fact lose those Hellions, so he still has some kind of creep cleaning potential. And he's maybe going to drop a scan to this right-hand side to clean up a little bit of it now. Can't think of any other reason why these Hellions and Banshee would be over to the right-hand side here. Apart from waiting to grit some roaches coming out of these rocks to the right-hand side. So, there it is. The scan comes down. He will just clean up a couple of those creep tumors. So again, just denying a little bit here. Banshee will get the last shot, and Banshee will begin to work its way through a few of the roaches. So Banshee's just been a little bit annoying. Ooh, tanks coming forwards too. That's nice because Serral is definitely overcoming a little bit with these roaches here. Very far forwards with these, so he kind of deserves to lose them. I mean, it's very aggressive from him. And MarineLorD taking advantage, almost baiting these units forwards there with his own units. Cleans out another couple of creep tumors trying to be reset. One does come out, but it's the one right at the back, so it's not going to have the most immediate effect. As you see, lots of queens in this composition. We're going to see that's going to be problematic for the medevacs, of course. Might be time for MarineLorD just to pick up and go back home, because the longer it stays out here against these queens, the less likely this is to kind of look too pretty for him. You see that creep pushing up through the center of the map. And again, the 1-1 upgrades from MarineLorD coming in at home. Infestation bit about to finish up from Serral. His lair tech starting to come into play here. As we see, again, just tanks just unloading and just cleaning up creep tumors, just targeting those down. And again, just using his kind of early units to deny map control to give himself a better chance as the game goes on. Obviously, the less creep there is on the map, the better chance you have to kind of trade throughout, and so on as well. See those two tanks just coming over to the right hand side here. Going to be dropping off, and well, maybe not dropping off immediately, but could clear out this watchtower, for example. Good use of the tanks again, just deny map control. Kind of the same story as before. I mean, clean creep, deny map control. It's all the same as we're going to be seeing these Marines continue to move forwards. Going to pick off that Overlord there once again as well. And you're going to see those 1-1 upgrades just finishing from MarineLorD. 2-2 upgrades going to be coming up from Serral as well. So upgrades are fairly in the balance as long as MarineLorD starts his 2-2 shortly here. Shouldn't be in too much of an issue. As you see those tanks up on the high ground, going to be a little bit annoying now. Those medevacs still low on health, haven't been back home to be repaired or anything. And we're just going to be seeing, again, that hatchery just taking a little bit more damage here. Queens moving forwards. And as them tanks just being lifted by the medevacs, and just having to kind of back away. So a little bit more damage still being done. I mean, we sort of see this. I mean, we see the kind of 2-2 upgrades on the way. It's right now kind of a bit of a passive game. I imagine what MarineLorD will do is wait for 2-2 before he goes for any sort of larger push. And we're just going to see these tanks again. Utilize the map very nicely here. Ooh, this is his lift up there though, so loses one of the siege tanks. I was going to say, utilize the map nicely, using all of these ledges to just take as many advantages as possible throughout. I mean, this right hand side of the map is something we don't actually see too often here on King Savior. In fact, have you ever seen anyone break down these rocks to actually use this attack path more effectively? I don't think so, because, you know, you can just run up this side of the map so easily anyways. So, using those ledges very nicely though, and again, MarineLorD just going to head back home. It would be lovely to see him kind of repairing up a couple of these medevacs. Getting them a bit higher health, just make sure they're not as vulnerable. 2-2 halfway done, he's beginning to push himself into kind of an aggressive position and ready to take advantage of them 2-2 upgrades when they finish. He actually catches a lot of queens towards the front. Nice little start for him as the tanks will now lift up, back away. Infestors were starting to come forwards there, so it was a little bit scary, considering it is still very much so clumped up together. A few units just stimming forwards, and again, just trying to see what they can grab. We've seen an Infestor going down. And again, the Ling Roach Ravager just seeing what they can get up to. More creatures being cleaned out, of course. I mean, again, MarineLorD just preparing himself for this 2-2 push towards the right-hand side of the map. The hive about to finish, though. Serral is not with Ultras for a while here. That's wait for the Ultra Cavern to finish and then Kindness Plane to kick in. So, MarineLorD has some good time, a good amount of timing where he's going to be pretty effective. And of course, I mean, to be fair, that's expected because Serral has committed into +2 missile attacks. He's committed into Roach Ravager Infestor rather than just the +2, rather than the kind of faster hive here. So, like this again, MarineLorD going up to the high ground, utilising that to kind of deny some mining, and bad high ground vision will sort of pull Serral a little bit further back, as we'll see the Marines and Marauders just again looking to see what they can get up to towards the front. Again, just slowly pushing forwards and trying to pick up a few units here, a few units there, and catch a couple of Ravagers to the left-hand side, for example. So, going to catch a couple of those, backing away. Fungal Growth, maybe, catches the Medevac. Costs him an Infestor, though. So, nice trades from MarineLorD. Again, not big engagements, just small little skirmishes towards the front, sending a few units forwards and just catching a unit or two, and then backing away as move the tanks behind it, ready to kind of pull back into a better fight for himself if the Zerg wants to fight on forwards. 3-3 upgrades on the way in now from MarineLorD. Maybe seeing the creep continue to be cleaned out over this right hand side. Nice fungal there. He does catch a few more of those units, so a few more units getting taken down. You see a Ghost Academy on the way up, and 2 starports as well being added on now by MarineLorD. So more units just continue to come out here as we see those medevac's going to load up. They're going to head over to the left-hand side. You still see the drop up in the high ground. Just continue to just be as annoying as possible and just trying to keep Serral in a little bit of you're just kind of guessing as to what's going on. We see 2 bases being taken to the left-hand side now. They're not going to be attacked just yet. He takes those rocks down though to make life a little bit harder for Serral to get back over here. Never scan and MarineLorD still just controlling this sort of right-hand side area with his army, protecting his 4th base while he does so. And moving out, and well, he's going to cancel this 5th base, for example. He's probably going to get this base down to the left-hand side too. Another dropship worth of units, and this is really nice TvZ from MarineLorD. I mean, we've really just seen him playing patiently, using small groups of units to his advantage, using, you know, creating map control for himself. And, yeah, just sort of setting himself up very well in this game. I mean, now we see, you know, Ultra's on the way out, but he's already got Ghost Academy, he's got 4 starports, so, you know, Liberator production is going to be en masse when he needs it to be. And he has everything he needs right now. As you see him starting to trade against Queens. Obviously, Transfusers are pretty good against for the Queens to stay alive here. Sasuke backwards will trade with a few of the Roaches. And still more Transfusers coming down. I mean, it's still pretty good if you can force Transfusers out. It's less Transfusers for Ultralists, etc. As MarineLorD makes a bit of a more aggressive push forwards now. Goes this right hand side. We're going to see, ooh, Ultralist runs in there, gets taken down immediately. Do we have kindness playing in the game? We do. Ultralist goes down so quickly to the amount of Liberators and tanks that with their firing upon it. As you see, MarineLorD again set up into a very strong choke point, you know, chokey position now. As he continues to push in this direction, we'll see a couple more corrosive battles coming into play. And we'll see him just stemming forwards with a few more bio units, picking off a few more Ravagers here towards the front. And again, just with those tanks he can fall back on, gonna be very nice for him. As we're gonna see again more MarineLorD just coming on forwards. I mean, MarineLorD has free right now as well, which is another reason maybe these Ultras die a little bit faster than we kind of expected. I guess he has +3 carapace though, so that's not an issue. Adrenal glands coming into play as well. And MarineLorD still just edging forwards with this army, just a little bit at a time. Full base set back to home. I imagine we'll see more command centers starting to come in shortly. And we'll see him, well, hasn't denied this base again just yet to the left-hand side from Serral. So Serral's starting to get up to a 5th base. Some ghosts coming in though, and there's the snipes. The Ultra's starting to go down. The Liberator's happening a lot as well. That's 3 Ultras going down before the fight even really begins. Huge fungal growth though. That's the sort of fungal that can change the kind of pacing of an engagement, the outcome of an engagement very quickly. A bit of a mistake there by MarineLorD to stay so stacked up in that. And did get a little bit punished for it, although he still kind of comes out of this treading pretty well, I think. As we're going to be seeing the units once again, just the right-hand side, setting on up, spread themselves out a little. Well, it's hard to spread themselves out because he's taking the space, which is very... I mean, this is the problem with all the 4th bases on this map. They're all very choked up. And so it's very hard to spread yourself out to attack into your opponent who's encroaching on your base. Now this base is probably the best for that because it's harder for your opponent to attack up the high ground, but it's much further forwards, which can become an issue in itself. So, see again, just a few units stemming forwards here from MarineLorD, just trying to pick up what he can. Some Transfusers coming in, still a high number of Queens available. And we'll see some snipes coming down on Queens and Ultralists, etc. Fungal growth maybe to get rid of some of the ghosts. They pull back though. Liberators as well are once again just doing so much here. And we see the Ultras just dropping so quickly. Serral has a huge bank, but it doesn't matter how big a bank he has because he's just not killing any of MarineLorD's army time after time. GG. MarineLorD takes game lane pretty good right now as we kick off into game number 3 of this best of 5. Serral is the green Zerg player from Mind Sanity to the top left, who is going to have to try and find himself a way back into this right now, and for 2 games after this as well. If he wants to qualify for WCS, he does have a second chance in the losers bracket. Not sure which part of the losers bracket he would drop into, but it is still a second chance for him here today, which he could make use of. So, and Serral to the top left. Let's see how he does against the blue Terran player to the bottom left-hand side from Millennium. It is MarineLorD. Bit of an off-center spin. There we go, a little bit better. I mean, MarineLorD is a time to go into kind of the double rack stim drop play. It's again something which we see oftentimes on Frost, especially in vertical and horizontal spawns. Drops can be very effective, hitting multiple locations and so on. And we're just going to be seeing the racks at the front here, just going to be finishing up in the next few moments. So, racks is about to finish, and again we're just going to be seeing the hatch gas pool opening right now from Serral. So, hatch gas pool on the way. And yeah, I mean, just very standard stuff to begin with. So again, we'll keep an eye out on kind of the follow-ups here to see what exactly we're going to be witnessing from both players. As we'll see MarineLorD dropping down his natural command center. And we'll see Serral, of course, just waiting for his hatchery to finish, his gas to keep on mining, to see how this is going to end up. So again, that CC just building up over here. We see an Overlord. As he realizes his opponent's in the bottom left, this Overlord will change direction to get into a more useful position out on the map. And as the first Reaper will start to head out here, sees that Overlord from the north side, so he knows his opponent is spawned top left. And so he will use that to his advantage. We do see the second racks on the way, and so MarineLorD, time for him to start changing things up once again. So different build every game so far, which is great. Keeps the Zerg player guessing, keeps the Zerg player worrying about what exactly this might be, as we are going to see this second rack's just on the way up, coming up to being about 75% of the way in just a moment or two. And we're just going to be seeing the second gas coming in. The factory should drop very soon as well. First couple of Marines on the way out, Tech Lab and the factory. And everything just begins to set up here from MarineLorD as across the map. His Reaper actually picks off a drone, so pretty nice. Whoa, Reaper has 4 kills. Whoa, 3 lings in a drone. Wow, I didn't realize the Reaper was doing so much. We were just busy talking about kind of MarineLorD's build order. Sorry. That's why you should always follow the Reaper. 3 lings in a drone go down here towards the front. Then is going to see this Reaper continuing to trade, and we will see. Ooh, has to get away though. Getting very low there, but does manage to back off in the end. Factory again building. Stimpack will start as well. And MarineLorD just setting up into this very standard sort of TvZ opening. And it's just going to be seeing the Reaper just coming back in. Just going to drop a grenade once again. And again, just a little bit more damage onto the Queen. As we'll just see the Reaper again, just pulling away over to the left-hand side. And more Marines continuing to come out. Starport with a reactor on the way as well. And I mean, it's everything we expect this build to be so far, so no surprises just yet as we see more lings from Serral continue to come across. He just wants to try and get, figure out what's going on. I mean, he actually has the Overlord speed now, so he can come in, he'll confirm everything which he needs to. So we'll see how he responds to this, whether he sets up a run by. We saw a Rogue in Pro League yesterday, not Pro League, SSL? GSL? One of those events. It must have been GSL Friday. We saw Rogue playing this sort of strategy, which was very aggressive actually, with kind of Overlord drops as a way to sort of set things up and kind of deal with things. So just going to be seeing the Queens just spreading out the creep. Going to see a couple of Evo Chambers coming down. I'm still just waiting for MarineLorD to pop those first couple of medevacs out and to get across the map and to get something done. Would love to see him finish this wall before he moves out onto the map though, just in case there is a run by being set up by Serral, you know. So right now, actually, only with 3 Queens and a very low number of lings, he's going to need to make sure he keeps on making lings right now if he wants to try and come back into this. As we'll see, a couple of Evo Chambers just going to be finishing up. And a couple of engineering bays will come down as a way for MarineLorD to wall off, so there we go. A couple of engineering bays come down. We'll see him adding a third gas as well. And we'll see single Widow Mine on the way out. We'll see one more medevac and a Viking being made too. So MarineLorD on point with the build. Pretty much exactly what we'd expect it to be. Even 16 Marines, perfect number to go into this group of set 2 medevacs, as we see these Marines going to be finishing up with Stim. And here we go. Stim moves in, and well, 4 Queens initially. We'll see a scan, some creep being cleaned out. It's a good start. And we'll see another creep tumor as well, maybe going down, maybe one more. Guess every creep tumor in the scan range. We'll see Queens. And they'll start toggling down the medevacs now, and that's where MarineLorD has to start being a little bit more careful. Zerglings though are going down, and that means that he has a bit more access to kind of get in here and actually start attacking the Queens as well themselves. And actually, these Queens taking way too much damage. No transfusers coming in, and the medevacs just aren't going to die fast enough with only 1 or 2 Queens left over. Serral taps out of the game. MarineLorD a commanding victory here in